I'm here with Justin, a 2022 Polestar 2 long-range dual-motor owner. That's a mouthful, yeah? To hear his experience going from ICE to EV, which is a very recent one. Get a tour of his Polestar 2. By the way, this is not the original color. He'll tell you more about that later. And to hear what he likes and does not about this car. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on EVs. Justin, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. So, hi guys, I am Justin. As a day job, well, I am an assistant VP for a financial advisory firm. But on the side, I love to create content like Daren, right, on platforms like YouTube and TikTok, Instagram. So, thanks for having me here.
He shares a lot on his YouTube channel, including how he got this car, his first ride surprising his family and friends, the acceleration of an EV. Some people say it's like a roller coaster in his videos.
Yep.
So you'll find a link to Justin's channel in the video description. What made you get a Polestar 2?
Okay, I think it's more of a combination of multiple reasons than just one singular reason. So I think most of us know that the government's giving a 45,000 grant from the EEAI, also known as the EV Early Adopter Incentive. And then you have the VES, which is Vehicle Emissions Scheme, and these total up to 45,000. But the only thing is government was only giving these grants for 3 years, 2021, 22, and 23. So I decided, why not?
It is a new journey for you.
Oh, for sure.
You were previously driving an ICE car, Mercedes CLA. So being a new EV adopter, how come you didn't pick a Mercedes EV, which is a brand you use, or even a Tesla, which is a very popular EV brand?
So I think that's a very fair question, and a lot of people ask me that as well. I think first of all, Mercedes EVs are way out of my budget. They start at 400,000-500,000 base price. So that's more than 2 times of my budget. And I think for Teslas, I did a TikTok on this recently. My first reason is a bit more of a subjective one. Is the exterior aesthetics. I prefer the Polestar 2 as compared to the Tesla Model 3, which I think is the direct competitor. But on the interior, as later we'll give Daren a tour, you see that it has the traditional, the Polestar 2 has the traditional gauge cluster as compared to the Tesla, which is a bit more minimalistic in that sense lah. And I think it's, like I said, it's subjective. Some people like it, some people don't. Minimalism, not really something for me. I prefer the traditional buttons. But I think the second reason is actually because the two companies stand for different values. Tesla, correct me if I'm wrong, Tesla is a bit more innovative and in terms of their tech. So you have a lot of cool features in the Tesla that the Polestar will not have. And Volvo, Polestar, for those of you who don't know, used to be Volvo's performance arm, which they have since spun off, and now they focus purely on performance EVs. So I believe that the safety value that that Volvo stood for will carry over into the Polestar. So I guess that's the second reason. The third reason is actually, I think what we discussed last night, right, is how in terms of customer service with Tesla is very inconsistent. Some people saying there were good experiences and some people saying that there weren't. So the bulk or the majority of my friends who own Teslas, it wasn't the best. And I saw a lot of articles online, about the QC, panel misalignment, panel gaps, which I think, but these are issues that were faced about a year ago lah. So I believe that now it's much better. It's just that was something that was bugging me. So I decided to go with the safer choice, which was Polestar Volvo. But then the next point is actually not so much why I chose the Polestar over the Tesla, but I have to give credit where credit is due. I think on paper, the Tesla Model 3 performance, hands down, it beats the Polestar 2 in almost every aspect. First, you're looking at the 0 to 100 speed. For the Polestar 2 long-range dual motor, it's at 4.7 seconds. But the Tesla Model 3 performance, it's at 3.3 seconds. So it's not just a little bit faster, it's much, much faster. Then you have the WLTP range of the Polestar 2, which is 487 kilometers. And then you have the Tesla 3, which is around, I think, 547 kilometers. So that's a huge 70
I don't know
kilometer.
how Justin remembers all these numbers.
I'm just a little bit of a nerd, so I like to memorize these things because a lot of people ask me why Tesla, why not Tesla over the Polestar. So there's that. Then you have, not just these two, the range or the speed, but even charging speeds in the Tesla is slightly faster than the Polestar 2. The charging price per kilowatt hour is also slightly cheaper than the Polestar 2 or the non-Tesla chargers. So I think when you look at it, for me, when you look at it from, in the grand scheme of things, everything added together, the subjective and the objective opinions, I I kind of still prefer the Polestar 2 because of all these other reasons I mentioned, and I like how it's very unique. Like as of last year, end of last year, December 2022, there were I think 1,840 Tesla cars in Singapore. Now they're well over 2,000.
That's right.
Yeah, and Polestar, there were only 168 Polestar cars as of end last year. So it's a lot more unique. Not many people see it on the roads. A lot of people are like, what brand is this? So I just like that whole mysterious vibe to it. Yeah. So I think these are the main few reasons why I chose the Polestar 2 as opposed to the Tesla Model 3.
That's a great point, Justin. What I'm hearing also, I think constructive criticism for Tesla is perception often lags behind reality. So as quality improves, as service becomes more consistent, it does take time for people to feel safe. Yes, sometimes we hear stories from friends. It could be months ago, could be years ago, but those stick. So Tesla is working hard on improving service quality and consistency. Build qualities improve a lot, but it takes time for people to see it for themselves. If you tried the one of the new 2023 Teslas, it has improved. So there are good points for the Polestar here, as Justin mentioned.
Yeah.
This is still more of a unicorn. For every 10 Teslas there are in Singapore, there's one Polestar 2. So
Exactly.
this year, about close to 200 Polestar 2 right now. Justin talked about last night. We met the Polestar Volvo Club for a
Yep.
gathering
Yep.
last night in Caros. Got to learn a lot more about other brands. As a new EV owner, what was the thing that surprised you the most in the first few weeks?
Okay, I think for this particular question, one of the first few things, the main thing that stuck with me was how there's a huge misconception to EV charging or the EV space in Singapore, right? The misconception is people think, okay, there are two kinds of charging. There's DC charging and AC charging. DC is the fast charging and AC in layman terms is the slow charging. So most people would think, even for the fast charging DC charging, it takes around 30 to 45 minutes to go from a low battery to maybe a full charge, maybe between 10 to 90%. And people would think 45 minutes to wait for a charge, that's really long. And for AC charging, it takes around 2 to 3 hours. So a lot of people think even by fast charging standards, I'm not going to wait 45 minutes at the charging station when I can just go to a petrol station and pump and take 5-10 minutes to pump my petrol. But that's a huge misconception because I realized that for myself, I kind of integrate charging into my daily routine. So I travel a lot because the nature of my work, and actually not even just that, on the weekends when I'm meeting my girlfriend's family, who we both stay at both ends of Singapore. So, when I'm traveling to the west side or when I'm having lunch or dinner with my family in the northeast side, there are 3,600, there are more than 3,600 chargers in Singapore, and there are around between 7 to 10,000 EVs or hybrid cars in Singapore. So that's, the ratio is 1 charger to 3 cars, and you'll never find a time where all the cars and all the EVs and hybrids need to charge at the same time in Singapore, right?
We will spend more time on the charging experience after this. Now this is a sharp looking car. It is different from Tesla Model 3. So Justin, can you give us a tour of the exterior and the interior?
Definitely, with pleasure. Let's go.
I'll be behind the camera. Let's follow Justin.
Okay, so let's bring yourself for a tour. I think these are the signature Thor's hammer headlights that you will see on most Volvo cars. And then something else slightly different from Volvo cars is what they call the faux grille. These are, looks like waffles or pancakes lah. But essentially these are, a lot of EVs tend to have fake grills because they actually don't really need the air intake. And I mean, while we're on the front, we can also look at the logo. For Polestar, they are, the way they do their marketing or their designing is very subtle in a sense. It's always the same color as the base of the car, right? So if it's a white car, logo is going to be white. If it's a black car, logo is going to be black. And I think what Daren was asking me to share just now is the story behind my car plate. So my surname is Seng. So I bought my first car, the CLA, about a year and 1 month ago. So at that point, LTA hadn't released the SNG series yet. I believe it was SNE. So they released in alphabetical order, EFG, and then when it was G, I decided, Seng lah. And which Seng plates I was thinking, I've always been very enthusiastic about exotic car plates, right? So I wanted something a little bit more exotic, a little bit more interesting with a story to tell. Then I realized that SNG4L actually, it could be seen as Seng for life. So, I thought, why not? I spoke to my mom and dad about it. They were a bit more on the auspicious side. So they said 4. Are you sure you want to get 4? I was like, but it's like Seng for life, you don't really get to tell many people that that's the story behind your car plate. And they say, okay, it's your money lah. So of course I didn't tell them how much I bidded for it lah. So I think I only told them after I got the plate. So they were not too happy about that. But I think money well spent lah, because it's something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. I don't think I'll ever sell this car plate. So that's that.
For international audiences, 4 in Chinese means
是. Yeah. So okay, since we're talking about international audience, right? So the funny thing is when I first got my CLA, which was a year and 1 month ago, my car plate was actually SNE 1724X. Okay, first of all, X isn't seen as a good omen of luck. If you're talking about how auspicious it is. And then 1724 in Chinese, Darren, can you translate that? You seem like your Chinese is pretty no.
sorry, very banana, but same is die, you know. Say what's 1724 mean?
So 1724, if you translate it to Chinese, it sounds like 1724, which can be translated as 1720, which means we starve and die together. So when I got that plate, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to change it. So thankfully it was just 2 months before I changed it to this.
So dark, like his car, right?
Yeah. Good one. Okay, so maybe we go around the side. So this long range dual motor comes with the performance pack. For those of you who are curious, it's 16,500. Ironically, it doesn't add performance to it. You know, it doesn't make the car any faster. But rather the braking power, the suspensions, and I guess a little bit of the aesthetics. So first you'll see the Swedish Gold 4-pot Polestar X Brembo brake caliper. So these are huge, right? And a lot of people ask me, oh, are these stock? Actually, these are stock. These are not third-party or aftermarket big brake kits. These are Polestar in collaboration with Brembo. So actually, maybe you can't really see, but there's a word Brembo hidden behind these rims. We can take another shot after this. So
You just got to trust us.
yeah, you have to. So then you also come with these Swedish Gold valve caps lah. So I think Swedish Gold is actually Polestar's signature color for performance, which is why you see a lot of Swedish Gold in their performance EVs or in their performance packs. Yeah, and these are actually 20-inch forged alloy rims, which come standard with the performance pack. So much lighter, bigger, and I guess it looks a bit more unique lah. Yeah, most EV wheels or rims look a bit more unique. So that's that for the front. Coming along the side, we have the classic Polestar frameless or bezel-less side mirrors. So what's interesting about this is typically in a normal car, which I guess every other car, the mirror on the inside just moves. The entire housing or casing does not move. But for this, the entire mirror would shift as you adjust it. There's something interesting as well. Okay, maybe we can come around the back. They have this really nice rear light bar, which spans across the entire boot, something I really like myself. And yeah, it also has hands-free access, so really useful when I'm carrying a lot of things for my girlfriend lah. Yeah. So okay, it's a little bit messy now, so pardon me, but I have like...
How does it work? There's a sensor underneath the car?
Yes, actually, if I'm not wrong, it's a 1 meter long sensor as compared to the older Volvos, which is maybe 20, 30, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's much longer, I think 2-3 times longer than the old Volvos.
Huh, can you close it the same way with your foot?
Yes, you actually can. So it works pretty seamlessly because you can pretty much do it from any side and it still works.
Would be nice for Teslas to have that. So the practical use case is 2 hands with groceries or a stroller, no hands, got feet.
I thought Teslas have those actually. Hands-free access, no? Ah, okay, see, another reason why you should get the Polestar. Okay, so another thing is a lot of people can't seem to find where you open the boot if not using your legs. So it's actually right here, just slightly above the number plate. So there's a little button there.
A bit tricky, so maybe harder for car theft also.
Yeah, that's true. So I think in Volvos or Polestars, you get a lot of these, what do they call it? A lot of these hooks, nets, things to keep your groceries down, curry hooks. So a lot of space actually. This is just to prevent your stuff from flying around when you're accelerating real quick 0 to 100 in the Polestar. And you even have a so-called a secret compartment underneath, which are used to store all the additional stuff that I don't really need. Very miscellaneous stuff that make the boot look ugly. So that's pretty much it for the boot.
You've seen all the skeletons in Justin's booth. At first, before filming, he was thinking, do I tidy up?
Yeah, I was
said,
like-
don't want lah, you tidy up, it just be another car review, no?
Yeah.
So the point here is just to show like how he's practically using it. And the reality is we don't always use every feature for every vehicle. And
Yep.
that's okay.
Yep, very true. Okay, so maybe we can go on to the interior or...
Can you show us the front?
Oh,
And
yes.
tell us also, do you use it? Now, I love the front, but not everyone may use it.
Yeah. So I think on the Tesla, it's slightly easier to use because you just swipe a button on the app to open it. But for... so blooper, it just locked. But anyway, so how we open the front is actually from the inside. There's a little latch here. You pull it. And then it opens just like that. But okay lah, honestly, I think the action of pulling it isn't all that tedious. But it's more of... I don't want to dirty my front with fingerprints, you know? So, can't seem to find the latch. So there's a latch. As you can see, I do not use the front. It's a very small space as compared to the Tesla Model 3. The Model 3 has a much larger space, but technically I can keep a couple of things. These are like the safety equipment, I assume. And
I believe also, correct me if I'm wrong, because you are using a dual motor one.
Yep.
The single motor one may have a bit more space.
that I have to check with my SA. But that does make sense. That does make sense. Although I'm not too sure, I can't confirm that. But yeah, I guess you can
Say
keep
that
a
cause-
gym bag or something.
Yeah, yesterday morning when we were doing the charity drive, some Polestar 2 owners, they did put bags of the care packages in front also.
It's practical. There's definitely more storage. It's just I don't want to have to get fingerprints on the front, the bonnet, right? So see, there's fingerprints now. So yeah, that's essentially it. I don't really use it. Just more for just to keep it clean because I'm OCD.
Fair point. I'm also OCD, so same.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
one. After this, I have to go and clean this.
We'll see you inside.
Let's go inside. Okay. So on the interior, I think the fun fact about this car is that it has no start or stop button. So you just get in and it automatically starts, or vice versa. When you get out, it automatically stops. So I think the first thing you'll notice is probably the Swedish Gold sports seat belts that Polestar has for the performance pack. Something I really like actually, because it gives that contrast between black and gold. I know there's some debate being is it yellow, is it orange? It's the right color for it is Swedish Gold. So I'll just leave that info there. Yeah, so apart from the seat belts, you actually see this is a little bit of a fun fact. It has since 1959 etched into it. So why 1959 is because Volvo actually created the seat belts in 1959. And the thing about it is when they developed the seat belts, they made the pattern free for all competitors to use because they saw more value in the seat belts being a free life-saving tool rather than something to make profit or monetize, right? So that's just Volvo's history lah. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I did a bit more research why that was since 1959. So that aside, I think the next thing you'll notice is the huge moonroof, which there's a spider. Okay, anyway, yeah, I think it's
Puts you in touch with nature. To
Yeah.
See spiders.
let me just move this a little bit back because I'm not the tallest, so actually I sit quite close up to the steering wheel. But anyway, I think for what I like about this as compared to the Tesla, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the Model 3 has a bar that goes across the middle of the moonroof. Yeah,
That's
so this one is one piece of glass that just goes through the entire roof, which I quite like. I don't like any obstruction. Although, that being said, even though that's one of my favorite features in the car, I don't get to utilize it because I can't see it. I'm always at the front, right? So I realistically, I can't enjoy the view. It's more for the passengers in the back. So that's that. Yeah. And then next,
So later we'll go to the back seat and check
Yeah.
out the moonroof.
I'll be Daren's Grab driver for today. So yeah, I guess the next thing is wireless charging, which realistically, it just makes your phone get really hot and nobody really uses it. Anyway, I have this big magnetic thing stuck to my phone, so it doesn't really work. But you do have some USB-C chargers, which again, I don't really use lah. I usually leave my home with 100% charge. So next you'll see this huge 10.29. Actually, no, I have no idea how many inches that is, but it's really huge. I quite like it because it's a Google OS interface, so it's pretty seamless. Although, oh, and just to note, this one has its own, like, I'm not connected to my phone's data. It's using its own, I think, Singtel or M1. It's free for the first 3 years from Polestar, so it connects to its own data. So Spotify, Maps, they're integrating YouTube and I believe Waze into the Google OS system in Q2 this year. So you can actually access the App Store from here. You can explore all the apps. So yeah, I think it's a really seamless experience and UI UX that Google has done up here. Yeah.
Justin, there's some people who say they will never ever buy a car without Google operating system or Apple CarPlay. What's your stance now? Do your previous car have this as well? Tell us more.
Okay, so this actually does have Google, what's it called, Google Play and Apple CarPlay. It's just that it's not wireless, you see. So it's more of a wired feature. So actually, if I want to, I could plug a USB-C here and then lightning cable into my phone, and then it will have Apple CarPlay. So it's not that it doesn't have it, it's just not wireless. And I know a lot of cars in this day and age, 2022, 2023, it should be wireless. But anyway, it's just an what they call OTA. It's just an over-the-air update. So when that kicks in, then we will probably have wireless Apple CarPlay, Google Play, hopefully in the next 6 months, I would assume. But if not, I don't see any issues or any inconvenience with just using the OS itself. Yeah. So I think next, maybe we can look at the logo that's projected on the roof. So you have the Polestar logo projected on the moon roof. It basically just symbolizes the Northern Star. So that's something I think very unique in the car. You can actually see it from outside the car if you're looking at a top-down view.
So one day if you spot Justin's car, you just climb up to the roof and then you can see the logo.
Yeah, please don't do that. Don't take advice from Daren. Okay, so then next we have, I guess, okay, maybe we can look at this. I really like the way they designed the gear selector. It's very, oh my god, there's so many fingerprints. Apologize for that. But
OCD.
yeah. So I actually tried cleaning it this morning, but then I kind of just touched and it got dirty again. But yeah, so it's very interesting because there's this hole in the middle of the gear selector, and you have the logo here, which I think is really unique kind of design. I've never really seen that in any other cars. Yeah. Then okay, nothing much here. Oh, and then this is something that is I think a lot of Polestar owners complain about. It's the cup holder, the most redundant and unusable cup holder, because ideally your hand would be closed actually to give your elbow support when you're resting your arm on the gear selector. But if it's closed, then how am I supposed to use my cup holder, right? And if I leave it open and I put a cup here, then I just can't, it's in the way, right? So this is something that a lot of Polestar owners have complained about, but I'm actually working with someone on a 3D printing of a cup holder that you can hang it here, somewhere here. But yeah, there'll be another video on that.
Thank you so much, Justin, for this tour of the Polestar 2.
No problem.
Let's do a quick check at the back seat, see what the view like on the moonroof is.
Sure. So this is the view from the back seat.
We can really see a much better view. You can see the Northern Light Star on top. Polestar 2 is a work in progress. It's an evolution from Volvo's original performance cars. So the transmission tunnel will be gone in future iterations.
Yeah,
this is just temporary.
The Polestar 3 does not have this transmission tunnel, but it's not put, I mean, it's put to good use in a sense where they actually just store the batteries here so that they could make the car lower, slightly lower, so there's more room for your legs.
Yeah, so the height is decent. One complaint with some EVs nowadays is the floor is quite high. So you feel like you're squatting down in the back seat. Because the batteries are taking up the floor width.
Yep.
So I think technology is really important to make the experience more comfortable.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about your car, your EV already. Let's actually learn more about the charging experience.
Sure.
Shall we head to one of your favorite chargers?
Sure. My favorite chargers at Waterway point. So nobody contests with me there. Okay, there's not many people there to begin with. So yeah, let's head over to Waterway point.
We're back in the front seats. We're heading to Waterway charger. Justin's going to show us how this car starts off, and we'll ask him some questions along the drive.
Sure, no problem. So, like I mentioned, there's no start stop. You just get in the car, sit down, everything automatically powers on, and then you step on the brakes and push it to drive, and that's essentially it. We can move off. Once you step on the accelerator, it just starts moving. Yeah. So let's hit there now.
What do you normally use for your navigation when you're driving?
Okay, so I think I have quite a fair bit to say about this. I used to use Waze a lot, and I love Waze. You know, it gives you a lot of you know what's the next direction to go, what's the next lane to take. But now because this is Google OS, I'm just using Google Maps, which is honestly I'm not a huge fan of because first of all it doesn't show you if there's police on the way. Not that I speed or anything, right? I'm just curious. I'm just very inquisitive by nature.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of EV owners get caught for speeding because it's so quiet. You don't know what speed you're at, and it's so stable, unless you're in a blue SG. So yeah, that aside, I think because this, like you see, it doesn't show me what direction to take next, which lane to take next. It just shows me the one that's next, right? So that's something that, I mean, of course, if I'm driving to office, driving back to and fro work, I've already memorized the route by heart. So I don't really need that. But if I'm going somewhere new, or you know, to the west, which I rarely go to, then I definitely need something. I don't want to be filtering right and then realizing that I have to keep the most left lane, things like that. Then I have to, oh, sorry, please let me go. Yeah. So just something small, but I use Google, and I know that Waze is actually owned by Google, which is the funny thing. I don't know why they don't want to incorporate, you know, the good things about Waze into Google Maps, but that's that. So that's what I use. Yeah.
What do you like about owning this car so far? It's been a month. It is your first Polestar, your first EV.
Something I really like about the car is how it handles so well, right? I was saying compared to an ICE because in EVs the batteries are generally underneath, below your feet, so center of gravity is much lower. So when you switch lanes, it's much more stable. It handles really well. So I think apart from the drive, I think the sound system, audio quality is something that is to me out of the world. I mean, I'm not an audiophile, but you can really tell the difference in the sound quality. This is Harman Kardon as compared to my Merc, which I don't know what speakers they had on the Merc, but I just know that this is at least 3 to 4 times better. You know, it was so good that when I first sat in it for a test drive, I told my SA, I'm buying this car before I even started driving it. So, yeah, I mean, quality is I think sound quality has to be good in an EV because it's so quiet. So you can hear everything on the roads, you can hear this and that. So I think something to make up for that has to be the sound quality, which yeah, I think Daren, you can also attest to that. Tesla sound quality is pretty decent.
That's true. You'll notice the sound quality more in an EV because it's more quiet. So good sound quality really makes the drive more enjoyable, especially for long road trips. For someone like Justin who's using his car quite a bit, you can notice that the noise isolation is pretty good also on the Polestar too.
Yep, very true.
So we're here along the highway. If there's opportunity, we can feel a little bit of the acceleration because this is a performance version. You feel that kick there. Very hard to tell in the video. Every time you watch all these YouTube videos, you'll be wondering what are these people on about? When you ride in one, you get a chance to ride in one. What is it you wish was different about your Polestar 2?
Okay, I think what the main thing that I wish was different is definitely these cup holders here. It's not that I use the cup holders a lot actually, but I have this particular. Well, actually, I don't use it anymore. But previously in my CLA, I had a reed diffuser just to make the car smell nice, and that's where I put the reed diffuser in a cup holder. But actually, last night from the meetup, right, the Volvo Polestar meetup, I realized that they were telling me not to use any oil-based diffusers because it kind of corrodes the coil and the air filter. So I guess I actually don't really need this now. But it's more for morning runs. Like I personally don't go for coffee runs, but I think people who would find this something that they really want to change lah. Yeah. I think apart from that, there's nothing much I would want to change about the Polestar. I really like it. I mean, apart from maybe the WLTP range, maybe you can catch up with Tesla.
For your own driving, what's your own experience on real world range?
Okay, I think like what everyone says, the WLTP range is really in optimum ideal conditions that it will give you that 487 kilometers on the Polestar 2 long range dual motor. But for myself, I think 100, okay, I've never been to 100% charge because that's not recommended for EV cars. It's recommended at 90% for Polestar. I know BM is like 80%, but for mine at 90% charge, I'm around 370, 360 km. Yeah, so it's around 20% lesser than the WLTP range, which I think is quite normal on most EV cars lah. But 360 kilometers is still more than enough. I've rarely had a chance, rarely drove to below 20 or 15% because there's just so many charges everywhere.
Talking about range, normally new EV owners, they don't like it when their state of charge goes beyond a certain level. You've seen some veteran ones in our channel, 10%, 2%, chill. Justin, how do you feel about range and what's the minimum range you're willing to accept?
I think for myself, okay, I have not, like I said, I have not been driving the car for long. But I think less than a month, and I've never let it drop below 37, 38%. Anything under 40% gives me what you call range anxiety. But then again, it's just because the kind of person I am, I don't leave house with my iPhone battery less than 90%. It has to be between 95 to 100. So that's the kind of person I am. When my phone drops below 60 or 50%, I'll start charging it. So just to give you an idea of what kind of person I am before judging me. Yeah, but under 40% to me is no, I have to go and charge it.
Same. So we'll see, 6 months from now, what Justin says. Maybe you look back and say, oh, now I do 2%.
Yeah, I don't think so lah. Maybe I think lowest would be 15%. I think that's already pushing it. 20%, maybe 15. I don't think anything under 15%. I don't think. Anyway, that's not good for the battery to drop so low lah. Yeah, recommended is maximum of 10%.
That's right. Every manufacturer has a different battery recommendation. Even the same manufacturers like Tesla have different battery chemistry for different cars. For all the rear-wheel drive car that are using LFP batteries, Tesla does recommend a charge to 100% at least once a month.
If you talk, oh yeah. Anyway, before I digress and talk too much, but yeah, we are at Waterway Point, so pretty close to where I live. There are three Tesla superchargers. Or actually, I don't think it's superchargers. They're just Tesla chargers. The basement and
They are superchargers. We came here
they are
a few weeks ago with
Okay.
Nick. He also likes this space because very few people come one.
So, and there are three Tesla superchargers and two non-Tesla chargers. They are turbo plus. They are charge plus turbo DC chargers. Yeah. So 0 to 100. Okay, actually not 0 to 100 because usually we don't charge 0 to 100, but ideally 10 to 70% is around 35 minutes maybe. 35 to 45 minutes. I think more realistically would be 45 minutes lah. Okay, so we are here. Oh, it looks like there's someone using the two chargers. So I think around this timing, 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So there will be people here doing their charging while they do their grocery shopping. So yeah, these are the two chargers that are currently being used. Someone just got it. He just came in.
So that's a good opportunity to talk about that, right? So we'll find a space as we wait for the chargers.
Yep.
But you can see like behind us there were 2 free Tesla superchargers. So one day in Singapore when Tesla also opens up to non-Tesla EVs, Justin could just go in there and get a really quick fast charge.
Yep.
Max capacity. But right now, this is one of the realities of owning an EV. However rare it may be, today on a Sunday morning, we've got a BYD and an MG. This is a good opportunity for Justin to share with us what was your experience charging your EV for the first time?
Yeah, so I think charging for the first time, I initially thought that because you see, I've spoken to a couple of people, right, and all of them tell me that it's very seamless, very flawless. But then do I need to turn on the lights? Yeah, let me turn on the lights. So my first time charging was when I hit under 40%. So being the OCD person I am, I was like, I have to charge. And a lot of people say 40%. I go to 10% or 8%, right? Like Rachel in the latest video. But for myself, under 40%, I felt, oh my god, I need to charge. So I came over here. I think it was around 11 p.m. midnight, and there were two chargers. There were the two lots were being used up. So at that point, I was like, oh my god, do I wait or what's the right what do I do, right? I'm new to this. I don't know if I'm supposed to wait. I don't know if I'm supposed to just plug out of someone's car and plug into mine. So I just waited for 5 minutes. And then I realized that I don't think these people are coming back anytime soon. So I Googled the nearest chargers nearby, and I realized there was one at the Shell Recharge, very close by. So I drove there. Oh, and it was also used. So I was like, oh my goodness, okay, then where it's midnight, why are so many people charging? They should all be asleep, right? So then I went to the multi-story car park nearby. Fourth floor, I drove all the way up. And the four AC chargers were also being used because I realized that, I mean, after having spoken to a lot of people, you realize that the multi-story car park ones, there are good timings to charge and there are bad timings to charge. So typically for MSCP, you will a lot of the cars were charged overnight because these are very low kilowatt chargers, so they tend to leave it overnight. So not good idea to go there at midnight or like 9, 10 p.m. So then I came back to Waterway Point after driving around for half an hour and panicking. Then I was like, the two cars are still here. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna wait 5 minutes and that's it. So I waited down to the last minute and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go back and probably find a charger the next day. Then I saw, there was someone sitting in the car. I realized that there was a hit. So I got out of my car, walked over. Then I realized that the person started to, reverse the car. I was like, whoop. Okay, I got back in and I immediately drove there. And that was the story of how I first got to charge my car. And it was maybe 35 minutes, and I got it from that 38% to 90%. Just sat in the car. I went to NTUC to buy some drinks and some snacks. Then I came back, I still had 15 minutes to kill. And I think the good thing about doing content creation, I guess you can work remotely, right? So I just did some work. It's not like I'm sitting here doing nothing, right? So at least I have things to do in the car. You can even watch YouTube on the app, on this center dash. I think even Teslas have Netflix and they can play games, something that we don't have. But we will have that in time to come with the OTA updates. Oh, perfect. You see, this is a really good example. Charger is free to use. And it's only been less than 6-7 minutes. So yeah, he's pulling it out and then we can head on over and then I'll show you how everything works. Yeah.
Yes. So the BYD E6 is heading off. This is very common with the ride-hailing fleets and taxi fleets now.
Very, very lucky that we didn't have to wait here for 15, 30 minutes.
So now we also get the experience because every car has a different charge spot. So for your Polestar 2, how do you need to position your car to get the cable to reach your charge port?
Well, okay, now this angle is a little bit... Let me just reverse in and then go back out. For the Polestar, the charger is actually on the rear left, so similar to a lot of cars where they pump the petrol. So I usually go rear in, like how most people would park. Oh, and the bad thing is you have to leave this off. A lot of Polestar owners would know.
What happens?
Because if you don't turn it off, this rear auto brake, if for now it's okay, but when they sense things like your humps at the back, then it will automatically jerk and then it will just jam brake and you feel like you hit something, but actually you get out, you realize it's just the auto brake function. And the thing is you can't leave it off. So the bad thing is every time you start reversing, you have to go into this and press off, and then it will turn on again the next time you turn on the car. So that is something Polestar has to change. They really have to leave a feature for it to turn it off permanently.
So they do it for safety, but it's something that a software update can help. Alright?
Just a simple software update. But
Walk us through how you charge here.
Sure.
I will follow Justin.
Sure. So, this is where open the charging cap. So because this one is a DC charger, you actually need to remove the cap here. Take this out. Then just gotta plug it in. It's a little bit heavy because it's a DC. So just make sure that the string is not caught, because sometimes it gets caught inside the charger head and then it causes some errors. So now it's yellow color. So once it's yellow, you can see, you can actually scan this QR code. So I'll open my Charge Plus app. Then essentially I can just scan here. And it's a pay per use. I have to top up my charge credits because I currently don't have enough, because recently I've been charging for free because thanks to Schneider Electric. And but yeah, for now, if I press start charging, then it will automatically start charging within the next 30 seconds and everything will show on screen here. Yeah, that's essentially it.
Thank you so much for an amazing experience with your Polestar 2.
Yep.
We got to really have quite an adventure-packed day, huh?
Very.
Never expected the EV charging station to be fully occupied for a while.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's a reality. It happens from time to time. It's not a common experience, but it could happen. So with all the pros and cons of owning an EV, will you ever go back to ICE?
Very good question. Would I go back to ICE? It's a tough question to answer because I recently test drove this the 2022 Audi R8, and just to hear the engine roar, you know, the V10 naturally aspirated V10 engine roar behind you is a different feeling that EVs can never give you. I know some of the EVs, like I believe that maybe the Porsche Taycan has 6 sounds.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think it does.
By
right?
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Got two transmission too.
Yeah, so these are things that EVs just can't give you, you know. So would I ever go back to ICE? I would like to own one EV and maybe a second car, which is an ICE vehicle on the side. But totally go back to ICE again, tough. But to own a second car as an ICE before, you know, Singapore phases out 100% of ICE vehicles by 2040, yes, I would very much love to have something I could drive on the weekends.
Thank you so much, Justin, for
No
sharing.
problem. Thank you for having me, Daren.
It's not an either-or. For some of our friends who own supercars, they will still drive like their Ferrari, the Maserati, and the McLarens on the weekend, on tracks, going out with friends. On weekdays, they have a Tesla Model Y to pick up the kids, send them to school. You don't want a V8 or V10 in front of a primary school, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's that world, and there'll be a lot more progress and improvements on EVs. So thank you so much. Justin's perspective, you've been driving EV for 1 month.
Less than a month, actually.
Less than
3
a month.
weeks. 3 weeks.
So it's a very fresh perspective. We want to capture this to let you know how that journey is, not just show you EV veterans. You can follow Justin on his YouTube channel in the video description and the link below, and also on Instagram.
Yep. Same handle as my YouTube, Justin Sung For.
Well, there you go. For life.
Yes,
For life.
Sung For life.
Yeah. If you found this video useful, please click the like button, hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos with EV owners like Justin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.